Hello, everyone. This is Anita from Indian American TV, and I'm the founder and chief strategist of Happiness Factors. And we bring you some news about the Indian community in the Bay Area and the immigrants once a month. And this channel is usually telecast on the bilingual TV and SF29. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Monika Chugh and Mr. Yogi Chugh to share their success story in the Bay Area. And Dr. Chugh is not just a doctor, but she's also a counselor for domestic violence, loves to hike, and loves to do a lot of other work in the community. And Mr. Chugh has a successful corporate career, and now he runs a successful small business for himself. So without much further ado, I welcome Mr. and Mrs. Chugh to the stage. And I would like you guys to tell a little bit about yourself, both of you.
Great. Monika, why don't we start with you?
Thank you, Anita. So I'm Monika Chugh, and I am a doctor by profession. I was born and raised in New Delhi, India, and partly in the Middle East. So as a child, I always wanted to be a doctor. That was just like my dream, that I had to be a doctor. And my father and my parents, my father especially, was very strong about that, and he was instrumental in that. And I worked hard, and I made sure that I become a doctor. I got married to this amazing guy, Yogi, in '94. And when I came here, I had to pursue my studies further because I could not complete it when I was back home in India. And without his help, I could not have done that. So we had to move to Boston, where I completed my medical career. And besides being a doctor, I write. I'm a blogger where I love to share my experiences with the whole world. Yeah.
So that's amazing. Actually, since you mentioned blogging, I would also invite you to contribute to our happiness newsletter. We send a newsletter out once a week, and we share something about psychology, something about the current events, some tips and home remedies, as well as a recipe.
I would love to. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that Mr. Yogi made the ladies first, and also the support he has shown towards your career, which made you the successful doctor you are today. So hats off to all those guys who support their spouses in achieving their career goals, because very few of them do it, not just in Indian diaspora, but most of the time, right? So Mr. Yogi, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Absolutely. 36 years living in the United States has been my immigrant story.
One moment, I can't hear you.
36 years in the United States has been my immigrant story. Came from India, immigrated to the United States, joined my parents, worked hard, went to college, struggled like every immigrant does. Worked for major corporations, as Monika mentioned, California, and then Boston, then back to California, right? Once you live in California, it's hard to move forward.
Yeah.
Really on a career like most people do, most immigrants do in this country. Started my own small business and joined with my sisters. So it's a family business, and we're very proud of that. And, Anita, working in the community has come very naturally to us. That's something I'm very proud of. And, Monika talked a little bit about the fact that she's a doctor. I'll tell you, she's a great doctor. I'm very proud of her. She ran a successful practice. Now she's working. But I'll tell you, doctor apart, she's a great wife. She's a great mother. And, our father lives in our home. We're a multi-generational family.
Awesome.
And really in this purpose, I think Monika has done a remarkable job of really keeping our family together. And I've always said that my success is in many parts because of her.
Nice.
And I think she's also been candid about the fact that her success has been something which our marriage has been a true partnership. Ups and downs like all marriages do, but that's our story. And we both believe that this community has given us so much. And that's why in our own ways, we like to give back to this community. And that's what we encourage our children to do as well.
Oh, that's really amazing. You guys are role models for so many parents. And I love the fact that you have kind of a joint family like the older system in the Indian community, because that I think gives more, not just like parents' influence, but more diverse influence among the kids, and they are more well-rounded. Like I grew up in a family where my grandmother used to live with us. So that was kind of amazing.
it has been something that I was a little concerned about when my mom passed away, right? My dad moved in with us, and now he's been with us for many, many years.
Nice.
Monica and I both considered one of our greatest blessings.
Awesome.
पता है कि घर में छत्र छाया
हाँ, वो बहुत जरूरी है,
Yes.
right? हाँ.
बहुत जरूरी है, or
हाँ.
having that in the home, you know, as you know, one of the drawbacks of living in a country of our own is that you succeed, you're working hard, but at the end of the day, your home is your sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
Or in that sanctuary, having somebody, as Monica and I can talk about things, but having an elder in the family whom we can sometimes ask and talk about the difficult challenges we face.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Getting an elder's perspective, I tell you, has been a blessing.
Nice.
And we consider ourselves fortunate that, you know, we are able to spend time. We wish we could spend more, but it's hard. But in spite of that, it's just probably a great blessing to have for our living in America.
So that's a really great message, especially for the younger generation who thinks nuclear family is the best because they can do whatever they want to do all the time, but they miss out on all the blessings and all the wisdom and the love, unconditional love from their parents, right? Or their grandparents, as the case may be. So, आप मुझे ये बताइए कि what inspired you to come here? और ये मैं मोनिका जी से पूछ रही हूँ क्योंकि I think योगी जी आप पहले से यहाँ पे बड़े हुए, right?
So मेरा main incentive था कि मेरे को डॉक्टर बनना था. और my father was in United Nations and he traveled a lot. तो हम बच्चे हमेशा उनके साथ travel करते थे and I always enjoyed that. And apart from being a doctor, I always wanted to settle abroad. You know, उन दिनों में हम बोलते थे कि हमको abroad settle होना है, you know. So I always had that. So my two main dreams were कि एक doctor बनना है और एक abroad settle होना है. So when I wanted to come here for studies, to pursue my studies, so my dad asked me, he said कि अब आपकी शादी की भी उम्र है तो आपको क्या करना है? So I said, okay, I'll get married, but I'll get married to someone abroad. And I always wanted to come to the US. So it was like both the things happened together, and by God's blessings, I got married to Yogesh, and we had an arranged marriage, and वो successfully hua. And then when I came here, I was able to pursue my medical career as well. So my main incentive was that. Yeah.
That's good. So, Mr. Yogi, आपसे मुझे ये क्वेश्चन पूछना है कि आप यहाँ पे बड़े हुए, फिर आपको अरेंज मैरिज करने में कोई हिचक नहीं हुई क्योंकि यहाँ की सोसाइटी बहुत अलग है, राइट? अरेंज मैरिज के कॉन्सेप्ट से.
ये that's a very good question, Anita. और जब मैं यहाँ पे कॉलेज जा रहा था, अपनी पढ़ाई कर रहा था, तो I was very involved in our community and all of that. And I'll tell you, सब यही कहते थे, अरे योगी तू इंडिया जाके शादी करेगा, you know, arranged marriage and everything else. And I'm of the belief that marriages are made in heaven and they're consummated on earth. And literally, I had gone to attend a conference in India. And there's a story around कि वो conference में मैं speaker था. तो मेरे मम्मी डैडी इंडिया पहले गए हुए थे, तो मेरे को कहते कि बेटे हमने ना कुछ you know अपने दिमाग में कुछ लड़कियां हमने ध्यान में रखी हुई हैं, आप जरा उनसे मिल लो. And it seemed so foreign to the idea कि ऐसा भी होगा. So it was not something that was planned. It just so happened, and then Monica and I met, and we found that we had, you know, a lot in common. And what we found was that we both had aspirations to accomplish much in our lives. And I knew one thing, कि मैं शादी किसी से भी करूँगा. मुझे ये था कि मैं उससे शादी करूँगा जो हम आपस में दोनों मिल के अपने सपने पूरे करेंगे.
Amazing.
And जब हम आए यहाँ पे, जैसे आपको मोना ने बताया कि इंडिया से वो पढ़ाई करके आई थी, तो यहाँ पे दोबारा पढ़ाई करना था, राइट? Obviously, यदि इंडिया से आप पढ़ के आते हो तो यहाँ पे ऑटोमेटिकली तो नहीं हो पाता. It's a process that you have to follow. तो एक कहावत होती है ना कि अपना बोरी बिस्तर बांध के हम कैलिफोर्निया छोड़ के बॉस्टन गए. और बॉस्टन में कहते हैं ना कि हम दोनों अरेंज मैरिज हुई थी, and certainly we were married to each other and we were in love. But our love blossomed more so because जिंदगी का जो struggle हमने उन दिनों में किया, हम आज तक नहीं भूलते. कुछ भी तकलीफें आती हैं तो हमेशा यही कहते हैं कि you know वो समय हमने जो मिलके अपनी जिंदगी की जो फाउंडेशन बनाई, वही आज हमें आगे लेके जा रही है. So that was really the purpose तो मैं खुद भी अरेंज मैरिज का कभी उम्मीद नहीं थी कि होगा. जब मोना शादी करके 1 महीने बाद जब आई तो सब कहते हैं अरे बाबा योगी तू तो अरेंज शादी करके आ गया, ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, ये कौन थी? Then all of a sudden, as Monika came, she became a part and parcel of our community, and the community was very loving and engaging and very caring. And उन्होंने इसको अपनी बेटी की तरह ही सबने इसको nurture किया. That's what made it easy. And I always give the example that marriages can only happen if you're willing to give it a shot. And Monica and I are living evidence of the fact that we invested in it, and our marriage is evidence of the fact that we did it together.
No, that's really great. I think both of you are made for each other from your like stories and how you really supported each other in जो भी हो रहा है लाइफ में, राइट? और आई थिंक इससे बहुत अच्छा इंस्पिरेशन उन लोगों को भी मिलता है जो लोग सोचते हैं अरे अरेंज मैरिज बिल्कुल बकवास है, क्योंकि उसमें भी आप एक और फायदा है अरेंज मैरिज में कि माँ बाप पहले ही फैमिलीज को आई थिंक देख लेते हैं, राइट? कि कैसा है, सुटेबल है कि नहीं, बिफोर इवन द प्रोस्पेक्टिव ग्रुप मीट्स द ब्राइड, राइट? तो इसलिए उसमें होता है कि वो बैकग्राउंड में कुछ सरप्राइजेस नहीं मिलते हैं बाद में.
That's right. Old-fashioned, time-proven ना बिरादरी में बात करना. And you know, in India, everybody is कहते हैं ना कि we were, 6 degrees of separation पहले होती थी. But कहीं ना कहीं से किसी न किसी की जान पहचान निकलाती थी तो फैमिली के बारे में पूछते थे, लड़का क्या करता है. तो कुछ उम्मीदों से दोनों घर मिलके शादी करते हैं. उसके बाद जब होता है तो फिर वही मेहनत तो करनी पड़ती है. And you know what, Mona and I are blessed. हमारे बाकी कुछ हमने friends को देखा, Anita, where the marriages have not been successful. And my advice to many of them is, if it works, build upon it. If it doesn't work, do what you have to do, because inner happiness is so important.
That's so true.
And in that case, that's my message to everybody else. Go into marriage with hope. Give your best, but always be prepared that anything can happen.
नहीं, वो तो बहुत विजडम भरी एडवाइस है, एंड यू गाइस आर लिविंग प्रूफ, राइट? एंड आई थिंक एनीवन अगर उसमें मैच्योरिटी है एंड इफ दे कैन रियली थिंक कि थोड़ा एडजस्टमेंट और थोड़ा लव वो से थोड़ा एक्सपेक्टेशन से चलेगा तो वर्कआउट हो सकता है. नहीं तो होता ना कि सम पीपल ओनली गो टू अ मैरिज टू गेट, देन नो वन कैन गिव 100% ऑफ द टाइम ऑल द टाइम, एंड देन इट फेल्स. होता है ना, you go to give in any relationship. And many people make it like Tony Robbins says, it's like a barter system. You do this, then I will do that.
That's right. कहते हैं कि marriage becomes transactional, but marriage should never become transactional. I think marriage should be give and take, and one should always be happy in it. If there's not happiness, then certainly, people often ask me, what do I do? I said, do what makes you the most happiest.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think it's also that in a marriage, it teaches you how to be more accepting. I mean, it's like nobody is perfect. We all have our flaws. Sab mein kuch na kuch khamiyan hai, So I think that what I've learned is that it's all about accepting, and I think that's a message I would give out to the youngsters and people who are getting married and who have this notion that arranged marriages don't work. They work. They really work. It's just that you have to be accepting and just a little forgiving too. You have to forgive.
वो तो सब में होता है, even if they do a love marriage, same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No different.
And once two people live together, I think it's a totally different scene than when they are living separately.
Yes.
But adjustment is very important. Understanding and respect is very important, apart from the love. No, that's really great advice. So tell me, what is your American dream? I'm asking both of you, Abhi.
So for me, again, it revolves around my profession, of course. I just want to give my medical professional care to the community, because I'm an eye professional, eye care professional, and whatever I can do to, help people out there who need eye care, that is one thing I would love to do. And because I just love what I do. I just love my profession. Apart from the medical aspect, because I write and I love to share my experiences with everybody and what I learn from my experiences. What I feel is that by my writing, if anybody out there can get inspired and can incorporate those values or those lessons in their life and be a better human being, I would really consider myself as a blessed person. And that is my dream for the community. I would just love to do that.
Yeah, it's always good to make other people happy, right? Because that gives you more
Yes.
fulfillment. Whether if people go me, then it's only very momentary. And after that, they are again upset or complaining or something in the negative state of mind, right?
Absolutely. Because I've learned from my mistakes, and I would love to, you know, share that knowledge or whatever wisdom or whatever you may call it with others. And if they can benefit from that, that's
awesome.
what I want to do. I really want to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anita, my hopes and aspirations are similar to that of Monika. Certainly, we're at a point in our lives where we're going to be empty nesters now. My son's off to college. My daughter will be going to college next year. You know, it's really a point about really giving much of our time. You know, we've certainly, both of us believe the fact that if God gives, you have an obligation, responsibility to give to others, carry it forward. My hope is that our immigrant community continues to nurture, continues to flourish, continues to become a critical part of America. America's greatness will be in many parts defined because of the work we as Indian Americans and South Asians are going to continue to contribute to this country. My hope is we can do it with humility. My hope is we can continue to help those that are less fortunate. My hope is that we can continue to inspire. My hope is that as we build our me and us, that we can carry many others with us and let them believe in the American dream. Recognize that America is one of the few countries in the world where you can literally come with nothing but a hope and an ambition and a desire. And if you put in the effort, you can succeed. Anita, your own story inspires me, of your own tribulations, of your own desire to be a coach, of really talking to people about happiness, how your own startup, how so many people have believed in you, how your founding team, how your investors, your mentors, and the best part is you're doing the same. And that's really what I think fascinates me. And I want to continue to do more of that, continue to inspire more people. And if we help one, we help another, we all flourish. And that's really my hope in the next decade, to even do more so than what I've done.
That's really amazing. And thank you. I think thank you for mentoring me and believing in me and giving me advice whenever I need, right? With mentors like you, I've been able to come so far. And right now, pretty much pitching very, very actively once a week to VCs to get some funding.
That's awesome.
While getting my product to get delivered soon. So that will be great. So, and I would say, so what adjustments आप लोगों को यहाँ करना पड़ा अपने बच्चों को यहाँ बड़ा करने के लिए compared to India?
मैं खुद यहाँ पड़ा हुआ था, right? When I came, actually Mona came when she was a little marriageable age, much older. But when I came in very early. My two sisters have been living in the United States. Mama and Papa had come before I did, actually. When I came in 1986, तो उस समय जो हमारा support system था, it was just the family and friends, right? And we were all as immigrants struggling, right, Anita?
Yeah.
You know, the 80s were very different than the 2020s. Now opportunities are more. You know, we're more confident, we're more bolder, we're much more successful in our lives. Jab humne kiya, you know, it was 2 odd jobs, trying to see how we can take more coursework. So we could graduate 1 semester earlier, so we could save money, we could get to work pretty quickly. You know, and those were some of the life struggles and galtiyan bahut ki. You know, dhakke bhi khaye. So what we have been able to learn, and I'll tell you, जो हमारे से पहले आए थे वो उन्होंने हमारे को बोला कि जो हमने गलतियां किया ये मत करना. You know, ये steps हैं, ये process करना, आपकी success से ऐसे आएगी. और मुझे लोग कहते थे कि योगी community service करो पर अपने पे भी time spend करो, अपना future के बारे में सोचो, मोना के साथ थोड़ा time spend करो, अभी तुम्हारी शादी हुई है. You know, start to spend time investing in yourself. And जब हमारे बच्चे हुए तो मेरे parents भी यही कहते थे. So the struggles we went through, we hope we can impart to our children. But you know, the children born in America, I believe, have a very different mindset.
Yeah.
उन्होंने struggle नहीं देखी. So as parents, हमने बच्चों को हमेशा यही सिखाया है कि always anticipate for the best, but also be prepared to deal with the worst. And when you fall, mom and dad will be there to lift you up with your safety net. But work hard, do what you can, learn to succeed. And that's the advice I give to everybody else, that dare to dream, shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
But don't afraid to fall, because there are friends, there is family, there are other people. And sometimes family becomes even friends become sometimes bigger than family. Family India hoti hai, right?
That's so true.
तो blessed हैं, पर बाकी सबके ऐसा नहीं होता.
हाँ.
So really, हर दिन उठो, भगवान का नाम लेके बोलो कि thank you God for जो आपने हमारे को दिया है, and डर के रहना थोड़ा बहुत कि किसी का बुरा नहीं चाहना. So really trying to make our children good human beings.
Oh, that's nice.
And really just really being very optimistic about the future, and just going back and saying that, what, we've come this far, but we have long ways to go. But let's be happy. Yeah. Let's have a smile, and let's feel good about what we do. Zyada nahi karna, kam karo, par jo karo, make sure that it's impactful, it's meaningful.
No, that's really amazing, and I totally agree. जहाँ पे आप रहो तो वहाँ जो भी रहते हैं, they become like your family. Like my rule is, if someone is friends for more than 10 years, they are part of my family.
That's well said. So true. Never thought of it that way.
Because they know you inside out, right? In 10 years.
That's true. That's true. That's true. और एक बात इस पे बात बोलना जरूरी है, जो आपने बात बोली ना, अनीता ने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली. And Mona and I, we're blessed to know a lot of people. But we've always drawn the distinction between acquaintances and friends.
Yeah.
And you build this group of friends who you build a level of comfort with. जिनके साथ shared values, shared hopes. Where you can trust your family, you can leave them and not worry about it. कहीं जाते हो तो पता है कि कुछ होगा तो सबसे पहले वो पहुंचेंगे. So it's really that nurturing role of friendship. And I say that blessed are those that can find a group of people that you can count on as always being there for you. And we have been blessed with friends.
That's so nice.
And we learned a lot from them also. अच्छा बुरा दोस्ती खराबी में चीजें होती हैं, पर हर एक friendship से हमने सीखा है, बहुत कुछ सीखा है.
That's good. I think because you guys are such wise and I would say understanding and adaptable people, and that's the reason you have so many friends, and as well as because you are such nice people, right? So they stick around. Like I say, like my oldest, I always usually, I think for me, the first criteria when I meet someone new, I see how many friends they have long term. If they don't have many long term friends, then they are the only common denominator, right?
That's true. That's true.
That's interesting.
I've never seen it that way.
No, because so I'm doing psychology, right? My whole company is about psychology. Whole startup. So pretty much
the mind, the psyche of the person, right?
Yeah, that totally, because you have to see what is the common denominator, right? If some things are happening in a particular pattern, then what's the common denominator? And that's usually the root cause.
It's very profound, Mona.
Very profound.
Excellent. We've learned something today. Thank you.
We learned something from you today.
Thank you.
So Monika, how about you? What adjustments आपको करनी पड़ी? क्योंकि आप तो मतलब इंडिया से आई थी, तो यहाँ तो काफी different होगा.
A lot of people have asked me that question actually, and I've been in this country for 27 years now. Nice. We've been married 27 years. So, so as far as like adjustments, I think I have been kind of blessed because my dad used to travel a lot, right? United Nations with him, and I think growing up as a child, I feel I had everything that I could ask for. So I really had no problems as such. And when I came to the US, it wasn't like a culture shock for me, aisa mujhe kuch nahi tha, because I had traveled a lot. I think the biggest thing that I had to go through was that when we moved from California to Boston for my studies, I was there for 3 years. That was an adjustment for me, because we were in a small apartment. We had no friends. It was so cold. We had I was studying all day and he was working. He left his job from California to move there. So we had to start from nowhere. And that was a very confusing stage for me. Very, very confusing. But then, Bhagwan ki daya se ho gaya sab kuch, And then we came back. And then when we came back, that was another adjustment for me again, because we had to restart again, you know.
Yeah.
I became a doctor, ho gaya sab kuch, you know, but then we had to restart. So that was like one big adjustment that I had to, go through. And that was the main one, actually. The other than that, I don't think ऐसा कुछ major मैं बोल सकती हूँ, you know. But what I can just say is that, you know, when you had also asked Yogi about the children, see, that is another thing, you know, when you have kids, that's another big adjustment you have to go through in your life. And I think understanding my kids, because we have a son and we have a daughter, and they both are poles apart, their thinking is entirely different. And that was an adjustment for me too, trying to understand both my kids. लड़का कुछ और सोचता है, लड़की कुछ और सोचती है, वो एक एडजस्टमेंट मेरे लिए बहुत था as a mother. And I think again, by God's blessings, I'm okay. I think I did okay as a mother. Yeah, so that was another big adjustment.
So my question is, like, was it different bringing up a kid here compared to bringing up a kid in India? क्योंकि यहाँ के कल्चर बहुत अलग है, right? 4 years से बोलते independent हो जाओ.
Yes. No, I think it's different. And back home in India, I would definitely say we were dependent on our parents for every little thing we were. And, you know, I come from a nuclear family and always nuclear family, my parents के साथ. तो यहाँ पे मुझे बच्चों का सिर्फ ये लगता है कि yes, they उनकी freedom of speech कुछ ज़्यादा ही मुझे लगती है. Like the way they talk.
जरूरत ज़्यादा हो जाती है.
They're confident.
They are very well informed, I feel. Like our son who's 22 and daughter who's 17, they know a lot for that age, which I don't think I knew when I was 17 or when I was 22. I don't think so. I was like 22 jab shadi hui yahan aa gaye, you know, but I didn't know anything, I feel. So they are very confident. And so that was kind of tough for me, but hats off to them though. So that is one main thing I feel.
And I think also, Mona, jab aap boarding school mein thi India mein, so for you, independence was natural to you, I think, in that regard. So jab yahan pe aayi, to, you know, I think that was a little easy, but I think one thing that in spite of everything, and Mona does this better than I do. हमारे बेटे और बेटी को Mona हमेशा कहते हैं कि let them thrive, let them find their own comfort. Let them excel at what they want to do. You know, our son is a business major and he's pursuing music as well.
Nice.
So Monica and I often talk about what it is. And she says he will find his edge. Yes. He will pursue what he wants. He will succeed. The American DNA is a wholesome development. His interest, his personification is different. But the adjustment, I think, you know, जब हमारा बेटा हुआ था, तो my mom literally raised my son for the first 3 years of his life. Nice. So his foundation थोड़ा different है, right? And my daughter was raised by a nanny. Her foundation's different. So I think there are some adjustments that she had to make when she came here, but our children, raising them as children, certainly you never get prepared to raise your own children, right?
Yeah, never.
पुराने संस्कार जो पेरेंट्स ने सिखाया था, कई बार बातें याद होती हैं कि बच्चे जब आप पेरेंट्स बनोगे तब तुम्हारे को अकल आएगी. That comes to life every day. अरे ये क्या कर रहे हैं यार, मुझे याद है मेरे डैडी मेरे को बोलते थे बेटा पढ़ लो. You know, now I tell my son, अरे बेटा थोड़ा classes खत्म कर लो ना यार. So it's that very notion that raising our children is much different than our parents raised us. But जो foundational growth हमारी हुई थी ना, I think we're able to impart that adjustments to our children to let them succeed.
Also, I feel that the children over here are a little bit more protected.
They are protected.
Compared to the children who are in India. That's my personal feeling. I feel they're more protected.
Because I usually hear it the other way around. So why do you say that?
No, I feel, or maybe it's the people who we have come in contact with. I feel that we overprotect our kids. And I don't think that's much back home in India. You know, I could be wrong, but this is.
Yeah, maybe in Delhi it might be different. I think in other parts they don't even know anything bad happening in the world, like
that's
me.
True.
Yeah, I think same with our kids also. Everything was really nice and rosy, and now they are like, you know, they have their own wings now. They'll be going away. So now I feel a little scared. I'm like, okay, our daughter, she's 17, she's going to college. I hope she can adjust. I hope she'll be able to intermingle with everyone, you know. But I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they will to college and come back, on her own.
Cultural differences, कुछ cultural problems आए थे उनको upbring करने में, because यहाँ पे के, of course, उनके friends और बाकी लोग का culture totally different है, right? compared to the Indian culture.
कल्चर में मेरे बेटे के साथ जब मेरी मम्मा ने उसको रेज किया तो आई थिंक जो फाउंडेशनल था ना वो काफी स्ट्रांग था. मम्मी ने उसको बहुत कुछ सिखाया. उसको इंडियन फूड का बहुत प्यार है. माय मॉम आज भी मेरा बेटा कहता है कि मुझे दादी का भरता और उनकी सब्जियां खाना. He still talks about that. I think the foundational mantra, faith, religion, पैर हाथ लगाने उठ के मम्मी डैडी के तो नहीं, मतलब दादा दादी के उस समय जब मम्मी थी तो I think that cultural was strong. And then our son went to mission San Jose, as you know, Fremont, a lot of Indian Americans, so that natural level of comfort to tha. But I'll tell you, my son is equally at comfort with friends from outside of India. He has Caucasian friends. He has, when he was at his college, he's performing. He's a part of the school a cappella team. Most of his friends are non-Indian. So they've been able to really connect on that regard. But my daughter, who was not raised early on by my mother, because mom was old and we wanted to give her a break, and we were at a point where we could afford to have a nanny come and take care of her. Her foundation culturally and spiritually is probably not as strong, but she's a whole lot more street smarter. She's very bold. She's very firm. You cannot take, my daughter will give one back. She's a black belt taekwondo. She's a strong fighter. She can hold her ground. So culturally, there are those differentiations that I think we often talk about between our two children.
Yes.
That's nice. So what advice would you guys give to a couple trying to migrate to the US?
Good question. You want me to take a stab at that?
Go ahead.
Believe in the potential of America. America, in spite of its imperfections, I still believe is one of the greatest nations in the world. Right. It is a country in which you can accomplish so much more. Define your dreams, define your boundaries, share your goals, be lock, stock, and unison about where you want to go, your hopes, your aspirations, and you can accomplish. Because of the fact we live in a world in which you're competing with literally everybody, right?
Yeah.
Don't let anybody's success ever handcuff you. Don't let anybody's failures undermine you. Learn from every one of those and continue to do well for yourself. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't get into the rut system of, I want to buy a bigger home and I want to buy an expensive car. All those things are good. How people will measure you is, do you radiate joy and happiness when people are around you? Do you inspire them? Anita, एक बात है ना, कोई आपका बिल तो पे करता नहीं.
सही बात.
तो मेहनत अपनी करो, खुश रखो, किसको दूर से क्या पता कितना आपका बैंक बैलेंस है या नहीं है. Right? गाड़ियां तो लीज करके जो मर्जी चला लो आजकल. Just build in your hope, invest in each other, and say, दुनिया कुछ भी कह दे, हम दोनों तो इकट्ठे हैं. हमारी फैमिली है, कुछ होगा तो देखी आएगी. Let's hope for the best. That's my advice to everybody. And live life to the fullest.
No, that's very important, because I think important thing you mentioned, which I always teach whenever I talk about happiness, is never compare. Be grateful for what you have, and then you will attract more to be grateful for. Because
that's true.
Always किसी और के पास ज़्यादा पैसे या ज़्यादा बड़ा घर या ज़्यादा अच्छी गाड़ी, but those are all external things, right? So internal happiness नहीं आती. Internal happiness आती है if you are feeling good about yourself. And how you view yourself.
If I can just share one anecdote with you. मेरी डैडी से कुछ दिन पहले बात हो रही थी. तो मैंने डैडी से ऐसी कोई बात की. मैंने कहा, पापा, आज something doesn't seem right. Not a very good day. Business में ups and downs होते हैं ना, right? तो पापा मेरे को कहते हैं, बेटा, जब मारो को कभी कुछ लगे ना कि कुछ ठीक नहीं चल रहा, always think कि somebody today is probably in a worse off situation than you are, and you're probably better off. You have your health, you have your happiness.
That's true.
You can live to fight another day.
Yes.
Fikr mat karo.
Wow, that's great wisdom. That's really great wisdom. So Monika, do you have something to add? आप क्या message देना चाहेंगे?
आपने पूछा था couples coming from India to the US, right? That's what you asked. So
and especially maybe with kids.
No, that question makes sense, because if a couple wants to come from India to the US, there's obviously a reason why they want to come here.
Yes.
Koi aise to bori bista bandh karke nahi aayega, right?
Oh.
So I feel that when the couple makes that decision that they're moving to the US, whatever that little desire, whatever that little dream that they have, when they land in this country, they are going to face problems, they are going to face obstacles, there will be struggles, there will be a lot of judgment, a lot of things will happen, right? And that's part of it. Don't let that deter you, because the moment you let that deter you, you're gone. So you have to be there for each other. Agar mere ko kuch problem aa rahi hai, then my husband has to support me.
Yeah.
So and vice versa, right? And that is one thing I would love all the couples to learn. You know, when you come to this country, I love the US. It has given me everything. It's given me my family, it's given me my medical career, it has given me my writing career, everything that I can ask for. So I love the US, you know. So anybody who comes there, my only main thing is that please, please, please do not give up on your dream. You will accomplish it here. Usko follow karo, have faith in God, have faith in yourself, and just keep your good karma flowing and everything will fall into place. That's one thing I will tell all the couples who are coming from any other country or India to the US. US will help you. I just love this country. Yeah.
That's amazing. No, did you want to say something?
I think Mona summarized it well. Yeah.
I think I was too passionate about.
No, we're
it's
both passionate
amazing.
about this
The emotions
country.
came through. See,
because it's given me so much. So why will I not accept it? You know.
Yes.
And I think the important point I think is you know, Anita, हमने खुशी में भी बहुत कुछ सीखा है और गम में भी बहुत कुछ सीखा है. This is what Mona has actually inspired me. Mona has not shared this with you, but she's a very spiritual person. In the last decade, she's become very spiritual. And what Mona has always said is,
then I'll need to talk to her offline.
I would love to. Her transformation as a human being, I think, has come out because of her spirituality. Her spirituality is her strength. And she's often come back and said, and you know, I have ups and downs in business.
Yes.
I'll tell you, but had it not been for Mona, you know, she always tells me up, you know, fikr na karo, sab theek hoga. And don't let this consume you.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're capable of doing. Keep striving. Keep moving forward. And she often said that. So I think to the point about the couple advice, I would say that, you know, husband and wives have to build goals.
Yes.
And if you can share those goals, success can come. And, you know, Mona, hamari apni family mein hai, right? My own sister who came to the United States, came in the 70s. She and her husband shared goals and they've succeeded. My other sister, her husband, they both have goals. They succeeded. Her two sisters who live in Canada, right? They literally left everything. And one of the sisters actually came from the Middle East. So their story was a little different.
Yeah.
But the other sister, she left everything in India, an established career for her and her husband. They were probably at that time in their 40s.
Yeah.
When they came to Canada. It wasn't easy.
Yes.
But you know what? Aaj jab baat karte hain na, they often talk about, you know, had we not done this, the opportunities that have opened up for our children today, their children, would never have happened had they stayed back in India. But their shared goal, and their goal was very specific. They were very well established. They wanted to do it for their children. So, you know, things have moved in that direction. So I think shared goals is very important. Ek India se couple aa bhi raha, suppose. It has to be both of them saying, this is our goal. Ye nahi ki main आपके लिए कर रही हूँ, आप करना चाहते हो या आप करना चाहते हो तो मैं I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
It has to be
together
Yeah.
till we fall.
No, that's really great advice, not just for Indian couples, but all couples, because that will can make or break a relationship, right? And define the quality of the relationship. So we have had thank you so much for all your time, Monika and Mr. Yogi Chugh. And I would say, like, to the viewers, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at Indian American TV. And with Mr. and Mrs. Chugh, we learned the different aspects, what makes a relationship successful, what are the struggles they had to go through, and why we should never give up and learn both from our mistakes as well as our achievements, and how having a common goal as a couple makes it more easy and more, I would say, aligned to have a loving and successful marriage and a long-term relationship, and how to give the right values to your kids so that they have something to fall back on if when the life is not going everything their way, and also to give them freedom and let them have their own individual personality. And with that, I would like to end today. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out us. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.